I need to like find myself again. And that's where calligraphy like really healed me because
Mm.
I could do calligraphy all day and like I still want to end up doing it like when I wake up.
Yeah.
I'm just like excited that I finally feel like this is where I'm meant to be, but I
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sheena Show. I have a very special guest today. Her name is Megan, even though it says George on her Zoom. She also goes by George in our Facebook group, but that's her husband's name, apparently. So for the longest time, I was like, is it George or is it Megan? Anyway, Megan. Megan is one of our students and a lovely member of our student community. So I wanted to have her on so she could tell her story of finding calligraphy and what she's been able to do with it. Sounds, just from the little bit that I've heard, like it might be a really relatable one. So here's Megan. And
Hi.
hello, thank you for being on. I just want to start with, okay, so how did you get started? Like, how did you get interested in calligraphy in the first place?
I've been doing cursive writing, lettering, calligraphy since high school. It's just been like one of those artsy things that I like doing. But then I became a teacher and I loved incorporating calligraphy into my teaching.
Mhm.
A lot of my coworkers would ask me to do signage and like wedding decor and party favors and
Mhm.
birthday banners and like bridal shower stuff and but I just never was like paid for those things. I'm like, yes, I would just love to do that for you for free. Let me
Yeah.
just you buy the stuff and I'll do it. So I never thought of it as a paid job or anything.
Hmm.
And then once I had my son, then I was like, I need something else. I need like a creative outlet. And then I eventually found your 5-day calligraphy challenge, which again, yeah, it was last January. Yeah, last
Yeah.
January. And that's when I fell in love with pointed pen, which I'd always wanted to try.
So that's really cool because we're coming up upon our free challenge now, and you fell in love with pointed pen calligraphy. Did
Hmm.
you even at that point think that it might be a business or anything like that?
Not really. I was just doing it because I'm like, oh, I'd love to try it. Like, it was more of just my desire to create. It wasn't like I wanted to turn it into something. But
Yeah.
then after doing the challenge, and then I think you had like the last day was like just telling more about the course
Mhm.
and there's like the how you could turn it into a business. And then I was like, whoa. Well, I don't know if I'm quite ready for that yet because I
Mhm.
just like picked it up. But then I was trying to convince my husband to do the course, and he was kind of like, "No, I don't think you need to do that because you already know a lot about calligraphy." And
Ah.
I was like, "Okay, maybe I'll wait." And then it was like a month later, I'm like still thinking about the course. I'm like, "Oh, I should have signed up." And then I like kept messaging on the board, like asking, when's the next course gonna open up? Because I'm like, I want to sign up for that one. And so then I think I signed up in the spring, and that's when I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna do this. I think I'm gonna turn it into a business. And
Yeah.
I ended up getting my first job shortly after signing
Oh,
up. So
dang.
that was really
Okay.
cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to back up a tiny bit for those of you who don't know who are listening. Because Megan has done calligraphy since high school in some form, she actually joined our 201 course and didn't
Yeah.
do the beginner, the very, very beginner one, which I think worked out really well for you because you
Yeah.
were able to just dive right into, like you said, the flourishing, more finding your own style, composition, and kind of
Yeah.
refining your pointed pen.
Yeah.
So you had no idea, you're like, the business thing, maybe, but like that's a sign when something keeps sticking in your mind and like
Hmm.
it just won't go away. I'm so glad you joined because tell me about this
Yeah.
first client that you got.
Yeah, so it was definitely by word of mouth because I had just started posting on Instagram how I did the challenge
Yeah.
and how I'm like pivoting to calligraphy because I started my Instagram as like a mom account, which I'm like, I don't like being on social media, so that like showing myself and my kid all the time, I was like, this just isn't gonna work. And so I pivoted to calligraphy, and then one of my friends just like messaged me on Instagram and was like, hey, my friend who owns a wedding venue, she's looking for a calligrapher or like someone who does signage to do a Mother's Day brunch. Um, and I referred her to you, but here's her contact info. You should reach out. So I did like immediately, and then it's just so funny when when the people who hire you need someone, they don't even really care like how much it costs. They don't really care like what your style is. They're just like, "Yes, we like it. We see your pictures on Instagram. We're
Hmm.
hiring you." Like, and I was just so taken aback. I'm like, "Wait, you don't need like references? You don't need
My
like
credentials, my college degree, yeah.
just so you know, I am enrolled in a calligraphy course, you know." So that was just so cool to see like how quickly it came about. And then that was
Mm.
like where it really hit me like, oh my gosh, I could get paid for this. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I ended up doing a welcome sign, like Mother's Day brunch welcome sign. I did a ginormous bar menu on their mirror,
Oh,
and then I
wow.
did like a cute little Moms We Love You sign on their other mirror. So
Hmm.
ended up turning out really, really good, but I learned a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I always tell all of my students who are like, well, I feel like I should get my calligraphy a little bit more confident before I jump in. I'm like, nah, dude, you learn the most and the fastest by
Yeah.
actually just doing jobs. Even if they're
Yeah.
free and you're doing them for trade or whatever, it's just something in your brain kicks in like, I gotta figure this out.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of like the do or die. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
someone is paying me, so
Yeah.
I want it to look good. I know that my skills are pretty up there, but like I also need to figure these things out,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to be able to do that unless I
Yeah.
reach out to people and try and get hired.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah.
how did it feel getting your first getting paid to do something that you had just loved to do since high school?
That was so weird because I didn't want to undercharge, obviously, but at the same time, like I would do this for free, like
Yeah.
because I just love it so much. Um, but I know that it takes time and I'm paying for materials and like I want to run a business and so there's
Hmm.
business charges and things like that.
Yeah.
So it was scary to like ask for what I'm worth, but I knew that like they could always change their mind, you know, like I can send them the amount and they could always say, well, what about this instead?
Yes.
So I felt like, okay, well, I'm just gonna stick with the amount that I decided and I'm not gonna
Yeah.
change. And then we'll see what they say. And the worst that they can say is like, no, we're not gonna pay you, but then I have stuff to back me up on that. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Very cool. So what happened
yeah.
after that first job? You said, were you still going through the course at that point or?
hmm Yeah, so I was still doing the course pretty much through June,
Yeah.
I think was the timeline of everything. And so I just kind of focused on that for a little bit, but then I felt really confident because I just got paid
Yeah.
for doing a cool calligraphy thing. So then I was like on cloud nine and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna follow a bunch of people in my area because I think that's how I got hired was people I know knew other people and I did want to stay local. I didn't want to do like online things
Hmm.
or like yeah, sell stuff online. It just felt like too intimidating and too much work when you have a toddler at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I just started following a bunch of people local to my area that I figured were in the wedding industry or in like events and planners, event planners, photographers, just like tons of people, and I would just interact with their stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Um, which then brought me to the Bridgerton photo shoot or
Oh,
styled shoot.
yeah.
Yeah, so I this is just my strategy, I guess, is I just invite myself to people's things and I just see their events and I go, "Hey, do you need a calligrapher? Do you need like cute things?" I don't know. I just like reach out and I'm like again, worst that they would say is no, we don't need anyone. So at least it like plants the bug in their ear that, oh, maybe I would like this. Maybe I'll think about it. So then my friend Jen, well, now she's a friend, but she does picnics, like
Okay.
styled picnics for people. And so she started the Bridgerton styled shoot. And I just reached out to her and I was like, I could do some place cards for you if that would be good. She's like, oh, that would be so awesome. So yeah, I just ended up inviting myself to that, and
That's
it was super cool because there were so many people, photographers, balloon artists, like just charcuterie people, like tons of people that I got to meet and follow, and then I've been referred to other places and other things through them too. So,
that's
yeah.
awesome. Okay, I gotta tell y'all who are listening about this is the first time in our student group, of course, I'm in there like chatting to people all the time, but Bridgerton styled shoot popped up and I was like, what? That is so cool. Like that's so cool for someone to think of that. And that's so cool that one of my
Yeah.
students like went for it and did it. For those of you who don't know, a styled shoot is basically like a fake event, a lot of times a fake wedding that someone puts on and they get all these vendors to participate and then you get these gorgeous photos that can then be published like in a magazine or an online blog, but mostly just the vendors can like meet each other and
Hmm.
start referring each other to things. And it's a great way for calligraphers to kind
Yeah.
of get their name out there if you're interested in wedding and event,
Yeah, it's
calligraphy.
super, that was like huge for me because it also like giving something like place cards so simple for me because it doesn't take too much time, but the return from that is I get to meet all of these people and I get professional pictures for
Yes.
my business. And that was huge because I don't have a ton of space right now. I live in a camper trailer on my grandparents' farm.
Oh,
All of my calligraphy stuff is in my grandma's like sewing room. So I have my own little corner, but it's like it doesn't have windows, it doesn't have good lighting. So like everything that I do, I have to plan so specifically for. And then now we're in winter time, so we have like barely any sun.
oh gosh.
And
And
so I'm like,
where are you in the
oh
US?
yeah, I'm in Oregon.
Okay. But like it
Yeah.
sounds like in more of a small town rural area?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Willamette Valley near Salem, the capital.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, about an hour and a half from Portland, south. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of we have super sunny days right now, but I know that it will be snowing in just a month or two. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
so I don't have like a ton of stuff to play around with in
mhm.
terms of professional pictures and even like a workspace. It's like not aesthetically pleasing. Sorry, Instagram, but you know. It's just what it is. So then when I get to do the styled shoots and when I get to like do these events, then I always like kind of plug into the photographers a little bit. Like, can you do some of these pictures for me? Like, make sure you get my stuff, please, um
Yeah.
so that I get something back that's meaningful too.
That is fantastic. And
Yeah.
that is something that I feel like a lot of beginner business owners don't do enough is just ask.
Yeah.
Like, and you just got to tell yourself the worst that could happen is they say no. And you're like, oh, well, I'm in the same place that I was before. But when you
Yeah.
ask, you often get. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So what happens after that?
I ended up signing up for something in my community called Art in the Park, which is just like a big craft bazaar for local artisan dealers. And I had my calligraphy out, I had like custom keychains out, and I didn't sell like anything. I think I sold two, three things maybe, like just enough to pay for my booth space,
Okay.
which was so unfortunate because I was coming off of like getting paid for calligraphy and then doing this beautiful styled shoot, and then it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, it's so defeating. But then what was so funny is like 2 days before I was on Instagram and I saw this event pop up at this beautiful chateau, and I was like, hey, do you need a calligrapher? I can do place cards. I could letter on party favors. I could do a welcome sign. I could do whatever you need. And they came back with, well, we don't need place cards, but let me think about it.
Hmm.
And I think it was a week before the event, they reached out and said, oh, I would love to do party favors, and you could come and letter on them in front of everyone. And I was like, yes. So it's just interesting that how that happened too.
Hmm.
Just with like that balance of, yeah, you might not book every job, or you might not make money at every event, but then good things always end up coming. And so you just gotta like keep doing it, even though it
Yeah.
it sucks when you don't make money. And
Yeah.
um yeah, so I ended up doing that event with another calligrapher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. Wow. So your very first live
Live
calligraphy
calligraphy.
experience,
Yeah.
doing it like on the spot in front of everybody.
That was so scary, but so good at the same time. I
Yeah.
think it really challenged me to like get my nerves out, and to practice doing it in front of people.
Yeah.
But like people have an idea in their head of calligraphy and what it looks like. And so as long as you just write it how you would normally do your calligraphy, people are amazed. It's like, wow, that's beautiful. So once I did the first couple and people were like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Look, she's doing it right there."
Yeah.
Then I was like, "Oh, okay. I feel good about this." Like then I was
Yes.
able to relax and
Hmm.
it ended up going amazingly.
We are definitely our own worst critics. I don't know if I just attract all the people who are like perfectionist and I must be the best. But we seriously forget how amazed people are at just the fact that you're doing it with a weird pen right there.
Yeah.
It's like pretty, right?
I know. And of course, like I mean, I love the compliments. I love them because it makes me feel like I'm creating art that people want to look at. And
Hmm.
I know it's just like writing someone's name, but people really love their names being
Yeah.
written.
So
Yeah.
what are you looking forward to in 2025? Where are you planning to take your business?
Oh, I have so many ideas.
Yeah,
Um, I always have too many ideas. I do have some upcoming weddings that I'm doing some signage for, so I have
cool.
that on my calendar. Yeah, and a lot of that again is just connecting with people through Instagram and like
Hmm.
just reaching out and commenting on people's stuff and having the word calligraphy in my name where as soon as
Yeah,
I comment, they're like, "Oh, she's a calligrapher." Okay. Yeah, I would love to like have her do a wedding sign for my couple or something. So,
yeah.
yeah. So I have that in the works and then I've been doing more wax seals and I want to do like more engraving
Hmm.
and hot foiling or like gold foiling and just kind of expand my skill set
Yeah.
so that I can offer more things.
For everyone out there who is thinking, all right, I want that kind of momentum and I want to be able to make money from something that I've loved for such a long time and never got paid for, where would you say, like, would you say that enrolling in Modern Calligraphy 201 was the investment worth it? Like, how did it factor into your calligraphy?
Yeah, I felt like it was really worth it for me, especially at that time because I was feeling so like what do I do? You know, like I took the challenge, but then I didn't enroll right away. And so then I was just kind of floating for a while, and I felt
Mm.
like the course really gave me purpose to like work through calligraphy. And then the module that I keep coming back to is that like creating your own alphabet.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. That was like that alone is worth the like 201 because I keep coming back to that with like different letters and like
Hmm.
trying to build my alphabet from those letters and
Yeah.
it's almost like a puzzle and it's so fun. But it's also super challenging too. And I think that going through it the first time really helped me feel more confident in calligraphy
Mm.
and really helped me develop my calligraphy style. So
Yeah.
going through that was like huge for me.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And it sounds like just with that and on top of you just have, it seems like a natural inclination to reach out to people and invite yourself to things like you said and just
Which is so
ask
funny
for the
because
thing.
in person, yeah,
Yeah.
in person, I am so introverted.
Mm.
Like I would not do that in real life. I don't know if I would be able to like go up to an event planner at like a marketing thing and be like, "Hey, I'm a calligrapher. Do you have anything?" But doing it online, so much different, I feel like
Yeah.
there's a lot less pressure. And that's what I love is I'm able to just send a message and then I go, okay, if
Yeah.
it sticks, it sticks, you know? Whereas
Yeah.
in person, it's just like so nerve-wracking. But yeah, I know that I need to do that more often. And I think I'm a bit more courageous behind the keyboard in terms of that way. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think in my mind I get into professional mode, not introvert mode, and then I just go,
Hmm.
I know this would be good for my business, so I just have to do it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, how would you compare yourself then? It's been about a year since like you said you did the challenge and you were feeling kind of a
Mhm.
bit lost. How would you say you're
Yeah.
different now?
Just I feel a lot more confident knowing that I have like your course information to come back to. I have the practice pages to come back to. So when I don't have clients, I just keep practicing. And that's been really helpful because I don't have to like go to and look for resources. I already have the stuff. I just have to print it.
Yeah.
So that takes like a huge load off my shoulders because I don't want to waste my time, like looking for stuff. I feel like it's so helpful to just have everything together.
Yeah.
And then I just feel like I still feel like I'm a beginner a lot of the times
Yeah.
because I am surrounded by people um, who have been in the business a lot longer than I have, who are better calligraphers than I am and have their own style and like been doing it for so long. And so it's like, it is really hard to compare yourself, but I don't feel like I necessarily do that too much. Like
Mm.
I look at them as like this is the standard that I want to be at, so how do I get there, you know?
Yeah. So what would
Yeah.
you like, final question, what like advice would you give to someone who is kind of in your shoes, who is maybe feeling a little bit lost? I know I actually don't know whatever happened with teaching, but and the mom blog and all of that, but
Yeah, yeah.
someone
All of
who's
that kind
lost.
of went down the tube once I once I remembered calligraphy and like practiced all of that more. I just felt like really at home with calligraphy.
Mm.
Teaching for me, I absolutely love teaching. I had wanted to be a teacher since I was in the third grade. And once I finally became a teacher, it was so hard. And it took so much out of me.
Mm.
I like, I kind of lost myself in that way of just like always being there for my students, always wanting to grow as an educator.
Yeah.
And then especially with 2020 and on, it was just like a whole education changed from that point. And
Hmm.
so it was even more taxing just helping students with their social emotional learning.
Yeah.
Um, and then I ended up getting pregnant like in 2021, and that was my worst year of teaching.
Oh.
Just my students were crazy. I was not there energy wise. Yeah, it was just like a whole host of stuff. And so I'm
Mm.
like, I need to take a step back. And then my son was born and I just struggled so much. And so I'm like, I just can't even fathom going back to teaching
Yeah.
where it did take so much out of me that I don't think I would have anything left for my son
Hmm.
once I was done. So I'm like, I need a different outlet. I need to like find myself again. And that's where calligraphy like really healed me because I could do calligraphy all day and like I still want to end up doing it like when I wake up.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the only thing that I keep coming back to at different points in my life, and I'm just like excited that I finally feel like this is where I'm meant to be. Like, I know I have all of these goals, but it's okay that it takes time. It's
Yeah.
okay that, you know, I'm less than a year in and I don't have everything figured out. And it's okay that I'm not at the point that I want to be at. So
And
I
I
know I'll
was
get to that point.
and I was gonna say like you don't want to do it in a way that takes so much from you like
Yeah.
teaching did. So I'm
Yeah.
really glad you're going at your own pace. It sounds like you're doing
Yeah.
amazing. This, I'm like, I
Yeah.
hope the people listening take from this that it just takes a little bit of, you don't have to be in a huge city. You don't have
Yeah.
to have like a ton of experience. You don't have to have like business know-how or a degree. Like you
Right.
just make connections with the people who are
Yeah.
around you and you just ask.
Yep.
You like
Yeah.
invite yourself to things and stuff starts to build and you get a little more and a
Yeah.
little more and a little more and
There's this quote that we were always told in the like teacher preparation program, and it's like not fake it till you make it, it's fake it till you become it. And I think that was always like it was like a iffy saying for me because I'm like, but I'm still faking it. But at the same time, like sometimes you just have to put on your professional persona. And then eventually, when you do that enough and you start to go, oh, people actually want to hire me, then you start to believe that you can be hireable. And
Yep.
it just like totally changes your whole mindset. Like, oh, I am now becoming it
Yeah.
instead of having to fake it or mask it or, yeah.
Yeah. And it's very cool that it is with something like calligraphy that I totally get you is healing in a weird, I don't know if
Hmm.
it's because it's coming from your own body and mind, and it's like
Yeah.
it's you alone that's creating it, and you just can count on it that it's
Hmm.
going to be there for you. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. Thank
It's
you
so
so
good.
much. Where can people find you online?
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate this opportunity so much. And I just feel like you have so much wisdom that you've shared in the courses and on Instagram and like in the Q&As and like all this other cool stuff in the community that I just really I appreciate. And Nicole too.
Oh yeah,
She's
Nicole's awesome.
amazing.
Yes.
My gosh. So yeah, there's that. I just wanted to say thank you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm on Instagram. I'm at mod.calligraphy. And then my link to my website and stuff is in my bio.
Thank you so much. I'm
Awesome.
so excited for your calligraphy journey in the future. Reach out to me if you ever got questions or anything. Keep inviting yourself to things. We need
Yeah.
more of you and
Yes.
calligraphers in the world. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Megan.
Thank you.